What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. It's all about the irreverent love of gaming. But Joel's not here, so it could be about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah, and tonight I am joined by Dave.
Hey, guys.
And we are also joined by our live chat. If you haven't come out to watch the podcast live, you should. You can come out to youtube.com/casualshenanigans. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday nights. Or you can also come out to my channel, youtube.com/germgaming, where we are also doing a simultaneous stream tonight. Now, the two chats can't interact with each other, which is probably for the best, but you can watch on one of your choosing. So everybody joining from my channel, thank you for coming out to watch. I know this is different from the content I normally post, but I mean, we're 201 episodes into the podcast, so... If you didn't know I did this, you know now. Thanks for coming.
It's like when I get a comment on my channel like, Dave, when are you going to do a face reveal? First of all, 200 episodes of a podcast with my face. Second of all, I have a face cam in all the Fallout videos now. What are you watching on my channel? Just Total War, maybe. Oh, man.
Kanan says he came here for Joel, to be honest. Well... Can't really blame you. It hurts a little bit, but oh well, you do what you got to do. Joel isn't here this week, but Dave and I are. And, you know, if you think about it, we're kind of like Discount Joel, you know? We're not Joel, but we could be Joel.
We're Sam's Club Joel.
If you need to feel like Joel's here, here's a Joelism from earlier today. Scraped through by the knees of your pants. Ta-da. It's like Joel's been here the entire time.
Also, you guys hear Star Wars is coming out this year? There's going to be a Star Wars.
You know, we're only a couple months away. When does that big trailer drop that Joel is like, he can't watch and you're watching it for him?
Oh, he was sure it was going to be out by now, so he used to
okay,
say.
So there's not like an actual date. It's just, it's soon.
It's out there in the nether, like YouTube's tech support.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think I thanked everyone enough for listening to the show. I can stop thanking the audience. Like, they're nice, but they're not that great. So, moving on to important things. People who are great, Dave. You know who's great?
Not whoever sold you that laptop, I assume.
People who support us on Patreon are great. Everybody who listens to the show, we appreciate you. People who support us on Patreon, we also appreciate you guys, because you let us have pretty good sounded mics and lights, and the website is up and the Teamspeak is up, which you can come use with your friends or come hang out with us sometime. And it also pays for things like Casual Shenanigans original short films. If you haven't gone to the YouTube channel and checked out Welcome to Average Rainfall National Park, a small teaser of a short film that's to come, you should go do that. People are loving the short, like that teaser.
Oh,
that's not even the actual short film. It's just something we made, like Dave and Joel went out to make on their own. I guess I helped a little bit, but they went out to film that like after we already filmed the main video, just as a fun little teaser. So that should give you a little bit of an idea of how cool it's going to be, and it's coming sometime soon. But Geraldo pledged to support us on Patreon. Thank you very much, Geraldo. And he included a little note along with it. He said, really enjoy you guys' great work. Big thanks for making my commutes a lot more bearable. What does Joel's Mickey Mouse impression sound like? Which would have been great. Which would have been great for him reading out your name. So Geraldo, we'll make him do that later.
Yeah. We're not even going to try, because you guys want to hear Joel, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, they're here for Joel. We know that. We've known that for a while. But let's go ahead and start the podcast, Dave, like we always do, with a refreshing drink of water.
I was going to say, too, our Patreon backers at this point are like our lifeline, as YouTube just erodes away at everything that we love.
Yeah, for all that Casual Shenanigans YouTube revenue we weren't getting.
yeah, 28 cents a month.
Actually, I don't have anything monetized, so nothing!
They are the lifeblood.
Also, Mega YOLO Swagalag in chat asks, hey, should I get a 10-inch miter saw or a 12-inch? I appreciate you asking me. I literally have no idea. Dave, do you know what size miter saw he should get?
Oh, man. I feel like unless you have a certain, like you're building a house, 10-inch sounds like you use it for more projects. That's just me, though. Like 12 sounds like it's heavy duty, if you will. I'm just pulling all this out of thin air right now.
And Sinister Race comments, "We pay your bills. Dance." I appreciate that. Okay, so hopping into the main topic tonight. Dave, something interesting happened over the last few days with a game that we have talked about and we have both played and we were very interested in after last year's E3. Why don't you walk us through what's been going on in the world of We Happy Few lately?
For sure. We Happy Few was a game that got a lot of hype going with, I think it was their Microsoft stage announcement at E3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was Microsoft. A fantastic alternate reality world of the 1960s in the UK, where I believe the story is going to be that they lost World War II. And so everyone's basically drugged up to deal with the horror of, losing the war. So it's essentially a drug-induced Orwellian society. Fantastic concept. As it turns out, though, the game itself was a bit more, bare bones than what the trailer implied. Like, it's a fantastic intro to the game, even last year. But the game itself is kind of like a roguelike, randomly generated streets and levels and stuff like that, with a story that just kind of connects it together. Is that a good way of describing it, do you think, back last year?
Yeah, but I mean, when it came out, it was pretty bare bones, but it was also in early access, and I thought I think they were pretty clear about that. Like, hey, we're trying this new method of making a game. It's a really cool idea. Everybody's interested. Awesome. And they're like, we'll build onto it. So I think what you and I did is, like, we both played it a couple times. We're like, cool, that's fun. Like, that's an interesting game. And then put it down and forgot about it in thinking, like, hey, it'll come out for real at some point, and we'll go back and, go all the way through.
Because I want the story, for sure. I love the setting so much. The voice acting and the animations and the setting itself were just exactly what I was hoping for when I saw the trailer. But it was poor performing, and it was pretty random and glitchy. Like, it was early access. What has changed, from what I understand, in the last year, I haven't been following it. I just want to come back in once it's more complete. What's happened in the last year is the developers have decided to take a more story-focused approach to the game. Now, it is still going to be a roguelike in style, but they said that, I believe it was, can't find the quote, but I think it's like 188 unique encounters designed to be inserted as story elements into the random world. So it's different each playthrough, but you're guaranteed on your first couple of playthroughs of like a pretty cool, unique story, right? Unique characters and locations. And as such, they said, I think this was like late last year even, that the scope of the game is expanding and they're looking into making the team larger. Yeah. From 8 to 40 people, according to...
okay. Yeah, that's making the team larger.
Yeah. I'm surprised that even last year, that was made by 8 people.
That's really impressive. I mean, just the artwork, I think, would be a team of at least that many. Exactly.
There's a Compulsion Games news piece about the increase in scope. Let me see when this was. This was actually just last month. So they haven't been talking a whole lot about the expansion in scope. But, that's right. They were a Kickstarter game in 2015. So it was Kickstarter with only $350,000. That's not a whole lot. And then E3, and then a lot of hype, and then expanding the scope. All that to say... they've been improving the game. A big patch just came out, but for the most part, what people have been able to play for the last year or so has been that limited, stripped-down version in early access to test out the roguelike features and the level design and stuff like that. Unusually, just last week, the price of the game on Steam jumped from $30 to $50. And since that happened, which the developers say it was planned... Is it 60 actually? It might be 60. Anyway, a significant price jump that the developers did say was planned, but a lot of people are saying, yeah, the last big patch was really good, but we still don't see enough content to justify that price yet. Mm-hmm. And it almost seems like a lot of people aren't convinced that the final game will have content that's worth that much. It's $51. There it is on Steam. And yeah, their recent reviews are now mostly negative. And what caught my eye about this was the developers. I feel bad for them. They posted about it on Twitter and said, regarding the negative reviews, the fact that these reviews are more about the partnership, referring to Gearbox, their new publisher, than the game itself, speaks more about outrage culture than anything else. And they have a point. If you look at the reviews, most of the reviews are complaining about the price increase and about Gearbox being the publisher, although Gearbox said today that the price increase has been planned the whole time, that they had no part in that. They're just publishing, not making price decisions and stuff like that. So basically you've got, regardless of what the developers say, I say for sure, a internet outrage machine going here. The question is it justified?
And I mean, I don't think it is. So I guess I'll start with the negatives on the game side. That's a big price increase for something that's not done yet. And you know how I feel about pre-orders. I'm a broken record on this. I don't think you should give people full price money for something that isn't actually complete yet. You know, like if it's good, it's a digital product. It'll still be good when it releases. Like you don't have to buy it now. So, you know, I think it's a big price jump. I think if they went like some other games have done and went from $30 to $35 and then a couple months later go to $40, like, and you telegraph those ahead of time, I think it's less of a big deal if they're like, hey, we feel like we're adding more value, so we're going to charge more money. You already bought it. Cool. No problem. We appreciate your support at the beginning. You're good. You're in. But if you didn't buy it at the beginning, you want to get in now, hey, you could buy now, or if you buy in a week, the price goes up by a little bit, which is how tons of things work. Like tickets for events go up as you get closer to the event, you know, concerts, whatever. Like that's totally normal. I think if they done it that way, that would be fine. Jumping from $30 to $50, like, have any of the patches they've had, have they been that big of a jump? Like, has anything happened where you'd expect, like, the quality has been so good where you would expect people to be like, oh yeah, well, obviously you're going to be charging a ton more money for this now.
This is all hearsay because I haven't played since last summer, but from what I understand, the patches up until this most recent one were small patches, like quality of life improvements, little bits of new content, stuff like that. And then recently there was a big content patch, big weapon rebalance, stuff like that. And people are saying, yeah, the new patch is pretty great. If we had a couple of those, maybe the price increase would make more sense, is what I'm seeing in a lot of the reviews. So
good quality patch, like good quality improvements they've been making, but not enough of them to warrant that big of a price jump.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Out of all the games in early access that might actually be doing the price increase correctly, I'm going to actually give DayZ a shout out. They've talked about since 2013, their price will be going up once the game heads closer to full launch. It is going to be a $60 game, maybe $50. More than $30 basically by the end. But their plan has always been to bump it up in $5 increments over the course of early access. So as more content is added to the game and it becomes more stable in theory, the price just goes up a bit at a time. So you have an advantage for the earliest early access backers. They get it for the lowest price, but also have the most bugs. But you can kind of hop onto the train along the way and still save some money. And I think that's a better way of doing it. It makes it feel a bit more, less of a sticker shock, you know?
Yeah.
I think DayZ's only misstep was their first price increase, which was, I think, from $30 to $35. It was right before a sale. So they increased the price and then it went on sale. And so everyone's like, so this isn't a sale price now. It's just the same as it was before. And they were accused of doing it on purpose. And the dev said it was just a coincidence that they had planned on doing the price increase right as the sale started. I think it was last summer, possibly. Interestingly, it is... Oh, yeah, it is on sale. So it is $35 right now with some pretty frequent sales back to $30 for DayZ specifically. But yeah, that's a way of softening the blow, I think. DayZ could use it for sure.
Yeah, I mean... I don't know. It's fine if they want to charge whatever they want for it. I think people are justified in being upset maybe I haven't been paying enough attention. Like I'm assuming if I followed them on Twitter or something, which I thought I did, but maybe I don't. If I followed them on Twitter or something, I would have expected to see more about it. Maybe it's just not a big enough game, so I'm not paying attention to it that much. But then again, I'm somebody who technically already owns the game and I'm not paying that much attention to it. How many people who are that interested in the game are following it and haven't bought it? There's no real way to know. Like,
Yeah.
how many people are actually mad because they were going to buy it and the price went up and they're like, I can't believe this and I'm shocked? Or how many people weren't really going to buy it anyway, or maybe thought about getting it at some point in the future and now they're really mad because it's more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like they cared that much to start with, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I am seeing here in the article too that this is going to be the last major patch before launch next April. So from here on out, no more big content patches. So maybe that's why people are also a bit nervous, is because it's like, oh, you're on the right track, but now it's just all talk until April.
Right. Yeah, I could see that too.
I think overall it is just kind of an outrage train right now. I think it's a bit ridiculous. I could see being a little bit nervous about it, but at that point, just don't spend the money. What's really odd is that the Steam reviews are coming from people that own the game already, have weird amounts of time, like really small amounts of time in the game, and are complaining about the price jump. And I assume most of them wouldn't have bought it since the price jump last week. Yeah, all these reviews from Captain Neckbeard, no joke. This game is not worth the price they're asking for. It is a good game worth the original price. It is still unfinished. It's not a full game for the full game price. It's greed from Gearbox. Man, I bet Gearbox is a bit panicky over all this, because if what they say is true and they have no control over pricing, they're getting all the blame.
Yeah, because I think that's something that happens a lot, is people assume it's the big bad publisher who makes all these decisions and forces people to do bad things, which in a lot of cases the publishers are the ones that are to blame for, you know, you just got to get the thing out the door, even if it's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. But publishers don't deserve all the rap. If the team expanded that much, they also need more people. Or they expand that much, they need more money. Sorry, I'm very tired. They need more money, and I guess it doesn't really surprise me that much that maybe they do want to up the price to just, pay for more development to the game. Of course, it also concerns me that, like, the scope of the game is creeping so much. They're turning it into a big full-fledged game. Like, maybe it was a cool idea for an indie. Like, it makes a lot of sense. It's this interesting new take on the genre. It would have always been quirky and had its audience, but now they're trying to turn it into a full story-based game. Well, what if it's just a mediocre full story-based game and they increase the price and kind of tick off their fans and hire a bunch more people and they never quite reach the level that they should have been at, Again, I don't know that that's what's going to happen, but that would also concern me too, is that they basically aren't doing it the Battlegrounds way of reach incredible success and then go, oh, that's cool, and then keep on doing the plan you were doing the whole time, like keeping your core product good. Not doing the thing that DayZ, I think, has done wrong and Star Citizen's done wrong and maybe We Happy Few is doing wrong, where it's like, oh, we got all this incredible success. Well, we're going to extend the project timeline way out and we're going to add all these features and we're going to expand it. We're like, that's great. It's so great that you can do that with all this money, but it also would be nice if you could launch the game in a time frame where people are still interested in it. Maybe sit on some of that money afterwards and use that to support the game. Like, what if GTA 5 didn't launch until all that content was ready for GTA Online, That's a little bit of an extreme example, but it's good that they released it and they used all the sales to fund adding extra things to it instead of holding the release. Just my opinion, but it's a better example. I think you would put Ark on there as well.
Yeah, I think Ark's a whole different scenario where maybe people are still bitter from that, where they were doing things like in early access selling DLC to fund problems with development. Like, Ark had a few other issues, and maybe people are just getting really, really jaded now.
Shane, to answer your question in the chat, Star Citizen just hit $163 million in funding, I believe. So is it still coming out? I mean, I think it's coming out just as much as it was coming out last year, which is not really. But they're still making money and they're still hiring people, still selling ships. I don't know.
Yeah, so let us know what you guys think. in the comments, whether live or on the final podcast. Is the outrage justified for We Happy Few? And do you guys think that early access price increases like Ark had are really making people bitter about the whole scenario?
And how would you do price increases? Like, let's assume for a minute that you need to do a price increase. You're a developer, you're working really hard in your game. It's not selling for enough money to actually pay your bills and you need to do a price increase. How should you do it?
Yeah.
But for now, let's move on to what we're playing this week. Dave, you have been having a very busy couple weeks. What have you been playing?
Not a lot of games. I've been actually editing each night a whole bunch. I think all I've played this week was Arma 3 on Monday with you guys. Tons of fun as always. And I played actually live streamed the Battlefield 1 in the name of the Czar DLC on Tuesday. And I think I've played Battlefield for one lunch this week, and that's like literally it. Yeah, I've just been spending tons of time editing. I have a couple of big projects. You guys know some of them, like the Fallout Sanctuary videos that are taking a lot of time to edit. So that's been the main focus, is actually editing. I'm hoping to get some games in this weekend. I'm going to have to, actually, speaking of what I'm playing this week. I have a calendar entry for Saturday that says date with the alien, because Joel has been gracious. I've owed him 2 hours of Alien Isolation since February when he won the settlement contest, and it's been a very busy year. Productive, very busy. And Alien is one of those games where I've got to sit down and take my time, because I have to have an hour, the rules were, of actually playing. Like, I can't sit in a corner and just hide. So for me, I play the game really slowly, so to be fair, I'm playing like an hour and 20 minutes of Dave time, which would be about an hour of other people's normal time. But I still had an hour left to go. And because we came back from E3 and I still hadn't played my last hour yet, I made Joel a deal. I said, okay, I might be able to get an Oculus Rift soon. If I do that, to make up for how long it's taken, I'll play the last hour in VR. I am a fool. It works really, really well on the Oculus Rift with a mod, and it is going to be terrifying. But more time has passed since that second agreement was made, and so Joel's going on vacation next week. He's done me a bunch of favors with filming the last couple of weeks, so I said, if I don't have that last hour of Alien Isolation played in full VR, the full hour, before you get back from vacation, I have to add another full hour of VR Alien Isolation onto the end of it. So, I have it on my calendar. Saturday, clear my afternoon. It's just me and the alien.
Now, I'm not trying to sound like, oh, look how tough I am. I played a little bit of it. I thought it was cool. I mean, I played like a minute of it. I thought it was cool. I didn't think it was that scary necessarily.
I love the game, and one thing that, just with how I play games, it takes me 10 seconds to be completely immersed in a game.
Right.
I believe the world, I believe the setting, I'm there. And that's with 2D games. So, I mean, I remember I've told you guys stories before of me playing the original Stalker, of me hiding in a tree of like a half an hour of actual world time waiting for the sun to rise, because I don't want to run around and with all the monstrosities out there in the wasteland in Stalker. I love games like Alien Isolation and Stalker, but to me, they are incredibly stressful to play in a kind of good way, because, like, to me, they're very, very believable. Like, it's a completely immersive experience for me, but it's one that I do in small doses. And VR for Alien Isolation is next level for me. So it's like a complete stressful hour, where at this point, I can definitely say I will never beat Alien Isolation in VR. If I ever beat the game, it will not be in VR, because it is too immersive.
I mean, I think it'd be safe to say you're never going to beat the game, no offense, but...
It's unlikely. It is unlikely. But if I do beat it, it's going to be because I sat down and powered through it in 2D. Like, I ran through it, basically. Because as soon as I start slowing down and thinking about what I'm doing, and I start planning out what I'm going to do, like, I'm overthinking the game almost, and I'm so immersed the entire time that it's lots of thought and planning and stress, and it's such a good game. I almost wish I could just turn my brain off and just run through it, but at the same time, I can't, because I appreciate the game too much. I'm like, this is so good, I'm so immersed, it's actually so terrifying, I don't want to rush it either. I want to rush it, but I can't, because it's too good. It's Dave's catch-22, I guess. That's what I'm playing this week.
Cool. I have been playing some Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now, Ghost Recon Wildlands, fun game. You guys all know our history with it. We thought it was interesting when it first came out at E3. Then the next year we saw a demo at E3. We were all like, ooh, that doesn't look that good. But it came out, and then, over time, Joel hopped on it pretty quick and started becoming like a big evangelist of it. No, guys, this game's actually really fun. You should try it. And, so me and you have started getting into it. Now, for me, the best part of the game still is playing with friends. Now, I probably don't have friends I can play Wildlands with that are, as much fun as like Tyler and Derek. But I still enjoy playing the game. And I had an interesting experience this past weekend. I was coming back from a wedding, and it was going to be a little bit of a drive late at night, so I got a coffee. Did you know from Sheetz you can get coffee in a can, like a 16-ounce Monster Energy looking can? It was prepackaged. I was like, whatever. So I got it. I drank it. It tasted kind of weird. I got home at like 12:30 at night, went to sleep. I was tired, fell right asleep. No big deal. I woke up at like 4 and was wide awake like instantly. And I wasn't like startled awake or something. I just woke up, and apparently all the caffeine was just there and ready to party. And at first I was like, oh, that's weird. I just kind of, I woke up. I'll fall back asleep. Not a big deal. 30 minutes tossing, turning, not getting comfortable. I was like, you know what? I got to face facts. I'm up now. Like, this is just what's happened. Like, I am up. It's not going to get any better. So I got up. I wandered in my office. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Turn on Wildlands, and I queue up some podcasts, and I started trying to listen to like my pirate history podcast, which I really enjoy. It's literally called the Pirate History Podcast.
Nice.
It's a guy with a very soothing voice talking very calmly about the history of pirates for about 35 episodes. That's really good. But I realized pretty quickly that my brain was too dumb at the moment to process what was going on, because, not a whole lot of sleep. So then I put on like a game podcast or something and spent like 3 hours just going around collecting weapons and stuff in Wildlands. And I was talking to you and Joel about this the other day at lunch. I don't think the game is incredibly well balanced for guns, because it has a couple things which are cool. Like, if you sneak up on somebody and they don't see you, you can one-shot kill almost anyone with a handgun. Okay, that's kind of cool. Or one-shot kill anyone with pretty much anything if they don't see you. I get it. They're trying to make like a working stealth mechanic. I think it'd be better if they made enemies that could actually see you, but that's a thing for another day. But once you get to a certain point, I don't really see there's any point in getting the higher tier weapons. Like we were talking about, the bolt action rifles are actually harder to use. Like, there's no compelling reason to use a bolt action rifle unless you want a bolt action rifle. Like,
because how they balanced the ballistics, they gave bolt action rifles, which are supposed to be the most accurate, hardest hitting, like flattest trajectory rifles, the biggest bullet drop to make them harder to use. It's my least favorite part about their weapon balancing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, granted, I don't know everything about bolt action rifles. Like, I wasn't a nationally ranked air rifle shooter in 2005, so really, what do I know? But what I do know is I solve most of my problems in the game by using different guns, and then when I get tired or bored or backed into a corner, I whip out the Yamativa, which anybody who's played that game knows. It's like a gold short M249, and you basically just waste everything at that point. It's like, helicopter, screw you. Cars coming in, screw you. Army coming over there, screw you in particular. And you pretty much just solve all your problems with copious violence. But yeah, why? But if I have the Yamativa, why would I use the other 6 LMGs, right? Like, none of them are better. And the ways that they're different aren't really different in a fun way. They're just different.
Yeah.
And part of that's like, you find the thing you like and you stick with it. But yeah, balancing wise, it's not a PvP game, but balancing wise, I wish they'd done a little bit more, like made more pros and cons for different weapons. I think it could have been a little more interesting if they did it that way, but it's a small quibble. The game is still fun to hop in with friends and just go around, do a couple quick missions. They certainly have made drop in, drop out very convenient. So I've got no complaints there. Yeah, it's interesting.
I need to play some more of Wildlands and games in general.
Guys, I need to play with me.
Remember Total War, Jeremiah? Do you remember?
We got to make stuff for your fans, man.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I remember Total War, and I desperately want to play more of it with you. But yeah, but you got to make things for your fans, because Dave, you're getting pretty close to 100,000 subscribers, aren't you?
Smash that subscribe button, y'all. Yeah, it's pretty close. I'm actually curious. What is it today? As of the recording, I am at 98,850.
That's not bad. I mean, that's
100 to go.
That's about 1.5 Shugs or Shugmarie YouTube channels. Like, he only has 66,000, so you're getting up there. But that's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then, like you said the other day, they're probably going to move the goalpost for that play button right when you get there and be like, oh, 200,000. You're like, I hate you. Bigger and better Fallout build season 2. I'm going to die.
I literally can't. Like, I always set a frame rate limit. Not always. I usually have a loose frame rate limit, like a minimum of like 25 to 30, where like most of the settlement is 30 to 40. In some spots, like if you look all the way across it in a certain direction, you can hit mid 20s. Yeah, while Joel and I were recording the Sanctuary build, we hit 13 at one point. I'm like, I can't go any lower. The game is unstable at this point.
Now, how many more areas are there that you could actually build in?
A surprising number. I was actually looking.
Oh, really? I thought you were pretty much done at this point. Like, eventually you're going to run out of them and you have to be like, well, do I go back and start bulldozing them for the expansion, or do you just kind of leave them alone?
Well, the answer to that is no more bulldozing, because I bulldozed Sanctuary, and it's a side effect from what I understand of how the creation engine works. Again, I'm becoming more and more of a fan of the engine as I go along, but it kind of works like a never-ending list of spreadsheets. So like the cell is originally how it was, and then each change you make to it, whether in your save game or in the creation kit or whatever, it adds like a new line of changes in like a new row, basically. So you can't ever go back to 0, essentially. So when I scrapped everything at Sanctuary to rebuild, it wasn't like truly resetting with a new save game. So I built my new settlement on top of the remnants of the old one, and the frame rate is just not good. So yeah, I'm not going to go back anymore, I don't think. But there's a mod called Conquest where you can just put a workbench down just about anywhere and just build. So, Bentless.
Oh no, you could go into like the giant town and you could just be like, all of this is about to become renovated.
I could, if there was any FPS to spare in the towns, which there's not.
Now, what are you limited by? CPU, GPU?
Mainly CPU. God rays do hurt the GPU, but it's much more CPU than anything. And with things like Sanctuary, the engine itself just becomes too much. Like, there's too much for the engine to handle in one area.
Now, if your frame rate is low, have you tried, just for grins, like lowering the visual settings all the way down at the same resolution, but just lowering the settings to see like how many of those FPS can you get back and how much are just gone with everything you've done?
Yeah, God rays especially helps a bunch. Probably like 7 or 8 FPS increase. But Sanctuary in particular, I had a couple areas where I had light coming through certain windows where I wanted the God rays, and I was like, like it's not going to be a good frame rate no matter what I do, so I'll just have like best visuals. And I think we just restarted the game like 3 times over the course of the 4-hour recording.
Well, with the God rays, are you turning them off, or did you just turn them down?
Off. They're as low as they'll go right now.
Okay, because I was going to say, because I seem to remember like in Fallout 4, you could turn the God rays down and it didn't really look any different unless you knew exactly
it does.
What
the low God rays
looking for.
The low God rays are low. Super aliased.
Low, maybe. I meant like the medium and the high ones. Like I think I remember guides when the game came out saying like you might as well just turn it down. Like there's no point.
Medium maybe, but the low God rays definitely have some awfully alias lines, because it's doing a render pass of the God rays at like a very low resolution, like 480p, and then upscaling to full res for the full frame, basically. So yeah.
Cool.
What was the point of all that? There was a point in there somewhere.
Just, you're talking about Fallout. But
the number.
Yes.
I have the number here. 18 total settlements since 2015.
Okay, and that's out of how many possibles?
33.
Oh, you're just over halfway there.
Some of them aren't very interesting though. So
till you get involved, Dave. You can't quit. The Commonwealth needs you. The Commonwealth.
I got a comment on one of the Sanctuary videos a few days ago that cracked me up. Someone's just like, how do you put it? He's like, Bethesda might as well just cancel any plans for Fallout 5. Dave just finished it. Oh, man. I guess it's 17 technically because I did Sanctuary Hills twice. So.
Cool. Well, it looks like the jig is up, so we'll go ahead and say it. Alicia wrote into the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like you can, to be a part of the show. And she told us about her boyfriend, Baze. Yes, Baze. Not Blaze, which is what I assumed, but she wrote Baze multiple times, so his name's Baze. And she said apparently it is his 27th birthday. So, Baze, I'm excited by this because that means you're younger than me, and I almost never get to meet people who are younger than me, as everyone likes to remind me, except for, everybody in YouTube chat. But Baze sounds like a pretty cool guy. Dave, are you ready to get jealous about somebody?
Well, I mean, he's definitely a cool guy. He's one of our best friends, honestly.
I mean, look, this is the type of person we would hang out with. Okay. He is a programs coordinator for Parks and Rec in Texas. Okay. So obviously he is the nationally ranked air rifle shooter back in the day that we mentioned earlier. And he's got his good buddies, Tyler and Derek, that he games with. Now, Alicia did tell us this. Apparently, Baze, you guys are moving in together in January. Congratulations. But it sounds like you want the computer to be in the bedroom, and Alicia's like, no. Take it from somebody who used to live in a camper. You do not want the computer being anywhere close to where somebody has to sleep if that person is a light sleeper or is not entertained by you playing games. Because everybody else remembers in the camper when I had to play DayZ like this, and we're getting encounters with people, and I'm like, drop all the food on the ground or we'll do stuff to you. And they're like, we believe you.
Or even worse, we're trying to make new friends. You're like,
and then I get uncomfortable, and I shift in my seat, and then I hear like a rustle, and I look up, my wife's sitting up in bed. She turns the light on. She's like, shh. So, Baze, take it, put it somewhere else. That can apply to numerous things. In particular, that applies to the computer. Move it to a different room, man. The best thing we did when we moved into our apartment, we moved out of the camper, is it was a 2-bedroom apartment. The bedrooms were on opposite sides of the apartment, and the one that had a bathroom inside the bedroom, it was a smaller bedroom. We put the office in there, so I had a bathroom and I had a room, and we could shut 2 doors, and there was a living room in between the bedroom and the office, so I could be as loud as I wanted, and it pretty much never bothered my wife, which is the only way we were able to do the infamous Payday 2 stream way back in the day, where the 4 of us were up till like 4 a.m. screaming at each other. But
like literally just shrieking at each other. That was a very special night, but only one.
Baze, I'm judging you for that. I want to judge you, and I think Alicia wanted me to get a little bit of help. Because apparently you're a tall guy. He's 6'4", so thanks, man. Good to have you in the family with us. You're a ginger, so but you're tall, so that's good. But Alicia apparently is slightly bothered by the fact that you like wearing jean shorts. And I can't judge you because I don't know if any of my friends who live here have seen jean shorts of mine, but I used to wear them a lot. And I really liked them. And they were the type of tattered where you cut them off at some point when they got too many holes in the knees. And then when that part gets too tattered, you just cut them off. And then when that gets too tattered, you just move up and cut them off. And you just keep going until everybody asks you to throw them away. And then one day you're like, I don't think I've seen my jean shorts in a month or two. And your wife's like, what? And part of you knows what happened. The other part of you's like, yeah, she did the right thing.
It's for the best.
But Baze, happy birthday. Thank you for watching the show. We really
happy birthday. Good times.
It is now time for the news.
I do news time, but I think I'm actually losing my voice.
News time!
See, I felt like if I tried that, I would just end in like a gasp, like a croak. Oh, man.
A couple bits of news. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I moved my news to the main topic, so there you go.
Forza Motorsport 7 is getting a demo on September 19th, and it's coming to Xbox One and Windows 10. I like how the official release says Windows 10 PC, just in case you weren't sure. The demo will have 3 unique racing experiences, showcasing the depth and breadth of the experiences available in the game. That is not well written. You can drive the cover car, the Porsche 911 GT2 RS, to the brand new Dubai circuit and experience the thrill of navigating the Jebel Hafit Pass, one of the most famous driving roads in the world. Not saying I know everything. I've never heard of that road. Or pilot the massive Mercedes-Benz tank pool racing truck to victory at the high-speed Mugello circuit in Italy. And then there's a Nissan GTR, which you can drive. So it's pretty cool. And it comes out September 19th. Also coming out soon, Destiny 2 just came out on PS4 and Xbox One. It's coming out on PC in like 2 months. And the beta was out, and people have been playing the beta, and Activision have been promising that the game was going to be very well optimized on PC, and they're going to take care of PC players. Of course, a lot of console players are like, oh man, we want 60 FPS, because, it's a first-person shooter. But apparently, the game is very well optimized. Digital Foundry did a video where they wanted to see what hardware you needed to hit 4K. And using a GTX 970 and a GTX 1060, they were able to hit like 1800p at like a medium blend of settings at 45 to 60 FPS. So not really 4K at 60 FPS, but it did pretty well. We'll see what happens when I do a Potato Masher Pro video. I don't think they push things quite as far as they should have. But even like a GTX 750 Ti can play the game at 1080p and 60 FPS. Not in the highest settings, but the game still looks pretty good at medium or lower settings, and apparently runs really, really well. And even a G4568, which is a lowly hyper-threaded dual-core processor that costs $70, can drive a GTX 1080 Ti to play the game at like 4K and 60 FPS. So even one of the cheapest current processors on the market does totally fine at 60 FPS. I think it's a little more embarrassing that no consoles can play it at 60 FPS, but that's neither here nor there. But still,
it's here,
cool.
all right.
It's really cool to see something that's very well optimized, which also has been promised for Forza 7, so we'll see how good that is when it comes out. But I think the only way you could play the beta is if you pre-ordered the game. I didn't see any other way to get into it. So if you play the Destiny 2 beta, did you like it? Let us know in the comments below.
I saw lots of surprised positive opinions about the game over the last few weeks.
And I wonder how many of those are people who didn't play the first one are like, oh, this seems cool, because I thought it was cool too when I played the first one for 5 hours, and then I realized that literally nothing was changing. So hopefully it's fun for everybody who likes stuff like that. But any other news you want to talk about, Dave?
No, it's actually been quite quiet recently, I think, at least. Maybe I've just been busy.
Yes, it's either been quiet or we haven't been paying attention, but either way.
Yeah.
But it's now time for the mail.
It's mail time.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. So Johnny writes in and says, hey, Shenanigans. I didn't get the time to respond after 199 when you read my mail. Thanks for putting the word out for me. No bites yet. He's the guy who wrote in and was like, hey, you play Wildlands. You want to hook up and go play some Wildlands? Let me know. Go back and listen to 199. I forget what his username is off the top of my head. But he says, to respond to the what do you do question, when Joel asked, hey, listeners, what do you do? You know, in Joel's way. But he says, I'm a manufacturing engineer currently working as a night shift machinist running a water jet and training for my stationary engineer certs. The shame lists of unfinished games was my favorite because it made me go back and finish some of the shame games in my Steam library. That and IMO just became a new one after 200 because a friend and I use it kind of like that to confuse normies.
Okay, now I'm lost.
I'll be honest, man. I'm not 100% sure what that meant. It probably doesn't help that I'm very, very tired right now, so I apologize if I misunderstood. But he said, Wildlands follow-up. When do you guys play normally? I have a bunch of games I play and stream throughout the week, so I'm flexible if you guys want another player. Well, as you guys heard, we have a hard time even playing Wildlands with each other, so I won't say it's not happening. Like, feel free to hop on Teamspeak one night, and if one of us is playing Wildlands, like there's numerous people in the Casual Shenanigans community who play it. So if anyone's ever hanging out on Teamspeak, like feel free to hop in and be like, hey, what's up? You want to play some Wildlands?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound rude, but you probably shouldn't count on being able to play with us just because we have a hard enough time even playing with each other when we want to and try to set it up multiple days in a row. So,
just as a reminder, Jeremiah and I's last episode of Total War Attila was in February.
And wow, that's shameful. And as much as they make fun of me for my big boy job, I ought to just bring it up before they get a chance to make fun of me for it.
It's just me right now, but I was going to bring it up.
I have now a bigger big boy job, but I haven't hired a replacement for the last big boy job. So I'm currently doing big boy job and bigger boy's job at the same time. And I don't feel like I'm doing an incredible job of either at the moment. Mostly I just want to sleep.
What Jeremiah is really trying to say, guys, is that the lemonade stand is now open on Sundays.
Ooh, that hurt really well. Bring me that GoPro tomorrow, please.
It's in the truck. Maybe I'll just carry it in tomorrow because I keep parking in the Netherlands.
That's right. We work in the Netherlands. He said, as for Windows 10, I guess he talked about Windows 10 in his last bit of mail. I'm really sorry. I don't remember that either. I'm so tired right now. He said, I was reluctant to make the switch. I recently built a new Strix ROG PC, and the hardware I picked required Windows 10. I think they worked out the kinks and it's worth the switch now. So far, so good on my end, at least. And I stream games almost daily now with no major issues. The issues I run into are more getting used to how much simpler they made the interface work versus Windows 7. Keep up the good work, guys. I actually caught you on YouTube for the first time. I've been listening since 174, but have binged all the shenanigans you've put out. Thanks, man.
Nice.
And you look completely different than what I expected, although my imagination came close with Joel.
What does that mean?
And Dave, could you go ahead and bring up the list of Joelisms real quick? Because Johnny says... Yeah, you should. The Google Doc.
Let me see if I have access to it. Stand by.
Well, Shane, if Dave doesn't have it, just in case, be on standby to pull a number out for us. But he says, here's to 200 more at least, and community involvement at its best. Jay Burley, 66. P.S. What's number 42 on the Joelisms list?
I have access.
What's number 42?
My eyes got caught by several ones that I wish I hadn't seen. Number 42. After Joel spent 5 minutes staring at his crotch on the podcast, he says, just being a friendly dick, meaning to say just being a friendly douchebag. I don't think either one of those are correct.
All right, what are you reading?
I have to do number 43, which is even better. Joel while watching the Bloodborne game trailer. And I just pants myself. I mean, shit myself. like neither one of those is good. It's just, I'm just imagining he's in such awe. Oh man, it hurts. Ow.
And Bryant wrote in. He had written in before, and he said he's a game developer who works in Unity, and he asked what we do for a living. And then he asked if we'd ever considered a career in the games industry after Magic Castle of the Lost Knight. So we responded to him on episode 200. He wrote back in and said, unfortunately, I did not make it out live. I was at QuakeCon all day. He got to try Skyrim in VR. And he didn't make it home in time. Sorry I missed you guys, but thanks for reading my email. To answer Joel's other question, yes, I played his game all the way to the end, laughing the entire time. But to my shame, I did not get to buy the super expensive amulet and get the last achievement. I found out after I finished you had to take advantage of the shopkeeper and sell all the stuff back to him to make more money. I must not be a true looter. Also, thank you for the throwback waffle stomping clip. As soon as it started up, I set my coffee down. I knew the pain that was coming. If I didn't take precautions, I would have laughed, spewed coffee all over my computer. It was just as funny today as it was the first time.
That episode. Oh man, I think we came close to dying during that one.
It was a good one. It was a very, very good one.
Oh man, if laughter's the best medicine, then we are healthy.
But in the real world, not so much.
Oh,
we are very sedentary.
Mm.
Dave, do you have any comments of the week for us?
Oh man, There have been so many comments. I should have been setting some aside. There have been some fantastic comments this week. But I don't think I have any of them saved, I'm afraid to say. So there's that.
If only the podcast happened at a consistent time on a weekly basis when you could maybe save things and get them ready at a time. I'm just saying, I don't know for sure, but it's just one of those things that seems like maybe it would be possible.
Says the man that populated the document at 7:56.
But was the document populated before the show went live? Riddle me that.
Oh, I'm sorry that I was too busy coming up with a main topic for tonight to provide a comment of the week.
Did you come up with the main topic, or you're like, oh, here's the main topic, and you're like, oh no, I just pasted that one in there. That's not supposed to be for this week. Delete.
I threw my news topic onto the grenade that is the main topic.
Guys, this is what it looks like when both the hosts are too tired and nobody wants to do any work. This is it. This is what you get.
Don't look at me.
This is the market quality. Dave, I gotta say, your beard's looking pretty poofy tonight. Off topic.
What an incredibly weird way to say that.
What's the best way to say it's really poofy tonight?
Majestic?
Yeah, but I don't want to say it's majestic. I want to say it's poofy because it's poofy.
It is kind of poofy. I grew it out for the filming last weekend, but this morning actually I trimmed the mustache finally because I was hoping I did like 3 weeks of almost untrimmed growth, and I was hoping to get enough mustache to do the Kaiser Bill curl going on, but my mustache is very coarse and it just would not. The best I could get was like strands that looked like I'd like slept on my mustache and they were just sticking up everywhere. Like there was no curl going on. I was gonna have to like get some wax and like really invest in it, and I was not doing all that junk. So, but it is a bit longer right now.
One thing I'm not enjoying about having a longer mustache, like the beard, it's it's maybe a little hard to see. It's starting to fill in more. It's starting to it's going in the direction I want it to go. It's getting better. It's not where I want it to be.
You've got some serious beard length going on now.
But yeah,
it's actually quite surprising because it is legit at this point. I mean, you've got like operator level length going on right there.
Well, I've trimmed that a lot. What I was trying to do was just get it shaped enough that the fact that it doesn't fill in everywhere I want it to is like negated by the fact that the parts that are there, I try to make them work decently well. So I don't know. That's probably pretty subjective, but I've been pretty happy with how that's going. But Shane doesn't look like a chin extension. I don't know if that's good or not. Just got a big old chin. But the mustache is kind of ticking me off because it's long and I'm trying to comb it out to the sides. But man, I went to get some ice cream the other day, and I got one of the ice creams from the place that we like, and it was dipped in chocolate. And as soon as I bit through the chocolate layer, it was just ice cream all in the mustache, and the chocolate layer burst, and everything's dripping and just running out of it. I'm like, this is just a waste. And then Joel's like, yeah, you should just get it in a cup next time. And I was like, huh, that makes a lot of sense. Mason P says, do a chin reveal video. If I do that, I will also be doing a I'm divorced video because my wife won't put up with it.
Isn't it funny how that works? When I first started with the goatee and then like the beard, Jess was like, I don't know about this. But now it's like the beard has to stay.
Right, you get used to it. They're like, I'm used to a certain standard of man, and you at least need to look like that.
I will agree with the food though. What finally got the mustache trimmed today was Sunday. A very related story to yours. I went and got a soft serve chocolate vanilla swirl, and I got it from like an ice cream stand. So of course the small is like that much ice cream, like 10 inches of ice cream. And I went through like 7 napkins. It's funny because the beard isn't really a problem for food. Like I don't drop food in my beard. I keep it clean and nice looking for the. It's a little bit wild man at times, but like it's clean. But the mustache, I had so much ice cream. I was like, this has got to go. And then finally yesterday, I think I was drinking coffee and had sat my cup down for like a few minutes and went and like scratched my lip, and it was just full of coffee, like all coffee mustache. And I was like, nope. I need to trim down to the lip at least. That's been a riveting topic about beards.
It has. Now, as we wind down, Joel's not on this week, so we can't really talk about this, but if anybody because Joel, for some reason, is very excited by this story. So I don't think it would be right to do it unless he was on the show to, talk to it. I think most of this is just Joel, feels shame about all the stories he's told on the podcast where he's shamed, he shares everything embarrassing that he's ever done. Because he has no shame until he starts talking about it. Then he realizes he's like, maybe I should. But if you guys are at all interested, come back, for a future week where Joel is also here, where I apparently have to share the story of when I peed in a bottle while driving a vehicle at night. Because Joel is extremely excited about that for some reason. But we're not getting into that this week. This week, thank you, everybody, for coming out and being a part of the show.
I can make up for your lack of story with a very short story.
Oh, you can? Actually. All right, sure. Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Because Joel found this hilarious. We've joked with the podcast before with Joel's pissing in his mouth story that if he can just save one person from his fate, this podcast will have been worth it. All he has to do is save one person. Well, Joel's story saved me, possibly.
Oh, boy.
The other day at work, I was getting rid of some morning coffee, and this is how the thought process actually went. I was yawning and trying to crack my neck at the same time. I was like, ah, and then it also hit me. It was just... Because we always joke multiple times when telling that story, and remember, folks, when you piss, close your mouth. As a joke. But I literally thought of me saying that on the podcast. I just did like this. I was like, I swallowed the yawn loudly. I was like, But I will say, successful run. I came out of it alive. No incident. So Joel may have saved me.
Came out high and dry, huh?
Yep. No flooding out here. So, Joel's story may have saved one person. It may have been me.
Well, with that, thank you everybody for coming out and being a part of the show. As always, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like Alicia did. You can tweet at casualshenaniga while you're having what I believe is called a sports beer. Baze, if you're having a sports beer on your birthday, happy birthday, buddy. You can also visit us at casualshenanigans.com. Find us on Facebook, YouTube. There's even an episode or two on Spotify, believe it or not, as well as Google Play Music and iTunes and all those places. So thank you for coming out, being part of the show. Thank you for 200, I won't say wonderful episodes, but we're still here, so they can't have been that bad.
Yeah, thanks for all the mail this week, guys. Great to hear some feedback.
Yeah, it was really fun. And until next time, stay casual.
And like and subscribe. And mail in.
Like the smash button.